Okay, so it's recording on the computer. I'm going to send it to a few individuals. Then we'll go from there. Okay. All right, just sent it out to a few individuals. And the one thing I said for this topic, it is basically you need to stop resenting your team or your like board and staff included for not taking initiative on certain things for the organization or company. Because one thing that's happening is that they're not taking initiative because it wasn't clear. There's a lack of clarity that exists, and you cannot expect ownership, but there are no documented workflows existing within the company or organization or assigned roles for these individuals that create a culture of accountability. Because that's what it is at this point. Sorry, guys, I have something in my eye. So that's what it is at this point. It's that the culture of accountability is non-existent within your organization and company, and it's causing some issues where you're thinking people are just not taking initiative, but the issue lies within the culture of the organization itself, and that there is no accountability process or no adequate communication system to help them do what they need to do. So, with that said, we're going to start moving on this as there are a few things I need to take care of today. So, that's why I'm a little early today. Yeah, I'm a little early, but that's okay. So, when you don't build the systems that are needed, then it's very hard for your team to know what ownership looks like, right? Because that's where you need to stop blaming them for things that are not happening in the organization, because a lot of times we'll want to say that, oh, John didn't do this, Mary didn't do that, or they didn't do their job. Did they have a level of clarity needed to do their job properly? You might think, yes, I told them what was needed. Okay, you told them that what was needed, but did they really understand it? Was there a gap in how you explained it or how they understood it? But because these are things that you need to close within the whole process, within the organization itself, to ensure that people are actually doing the work you expect them to do, that they understand the goal, they understand the vision, and they know how their job or what they're doing contributes to the bigger picture. So these are all things that I want you to look at and think about, right? Because you're not alone if you're feeling frustrated by the lack of initiative with staff members, because that's normal. Right? It's something that's normal, but it should not exist. So definitely like, we need to talk about that because the lack of ownership usually is a systems problem, not a people problem. If it's a people problem, then it goes back to systems and operation because you hired somebody that wasn't a great fit for the organization and you did not do a good job at sorting who was a great fit for the organization. So maybe your systems and how to flag these individuals, train them properly is lacking. Okay. So, first and foremost, like I always do, I want to introduce myself. I'm Stacy. I'm a fractional COO for growth stage nonprofits and strategist for nonprofits, social enterprises, companies alike, right? So, if you are scaling fast but operating like you're stuck in the startup stage, this is a conversation that we need to have, because being able to have a successful organization or company but unable to operate like you are successful can become a big issue. So you might not be behind because you lack the money or anything like that, because a lot of people will think first issue they have, they like the funding, but okay, but you're also behind because you lack the systems to get you there. You lack the systems to help you grow. So I know this is a topic that may feel uncomfortable because some people just don't see it, don't understand it. And that's the issue that I know a lot of consultants have in the industry of social enterprise and nonprofits. It's like a lot of leaders are are focused, hyper focused on what seems to be the issue or what over what the actual issue is, especially if they're in the trenches, writing all the grants, running the programs, hosting the events, and working weekends. Like they want to keep that problem, and that's not something I'm here for. So today we're going to shift that and we're going to talk about like how your team may not be the issue. It's the issue might be your systems or it definitely is your systems. So we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about that and let's keep going. Okay. So if systems is something that you know you're experiencing problems with, I definitely want you to let me know. In the comments, drop a one if systems is a problem that you know you have, and two, if you're unsure if systems is the issue, drop a two. And I know some people catch the replay. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay and still answer that question. If you're catching live, hashtag live. Again, I'm going live a little bit early than usual. And I'm okay with that because there is some impromptu things happening that I need to take care of. So we're just going with the flow. Okay. Now, your team being confused or not having clarity in the organization to do their task is something that the whole organization needs to look into. Because then, oftentimes, if your team lacks clarity, it's not a one-off problem. It might be an issue like organization or company wide that needs to be addressed. Okay. So you need to look into what what is it that they're having trouble with? What is the actual issue with the person, the team member, the board member that's not taking initiative to do certain tasks that are necessary to help move the organization forward? So, okay, all right, sorry. A message came through on Facebook and I had to make sure to look at it. So, those are the things you need to consider. So I want you to think deep as to why is it that person not taking initiative is coming up as a consistent issue? Because then is it the person is not reaching out to the stakeholders that they connected with at the event without you telling them to do it? Okay, so why is that a problem? Do you have a process? Do you have a workflow that they follow to know that it's their job to do that? Do they have an accountability system that asks them, hey, who did you connect with? Did you follow up? Like all these things need to be set up. But this is what I am excited about, like in the work that I do, is that the back end and the systems to do it is the part that a lot of people like fumble on. Like they don't know how to set up these accountability checks to ensure that people are doing their jobs repeatedly and in a way that makes sense. So an example I have of that. So if there's an outreach event, right? Is there a how do I say it? Is there an after event or, like a few days after during the weekday? Is there a way for the team to check in and debrief on how the event went? And do they have a dashboard to like record what they were able to do, how many people they spoke to, how many people they met, the contacts that they made? Have they reached out to everybody, or is there a script or template that they can use to reach out to these individuals that they've met with? So all of these things are things that I want you to start looking at and identify if your team members have access to for them to actually take initiative on it. Because if these things do not exist, it makes it very difficult for your team members or board members to take initiative on certain things. And if there is a gap in communication where there's not a consistent communication or meeting cadence for the company or organization, then you can't blame them. Like nobody's communicating. They're just there to clock in and cash a check. So you have to bring it back to the systems that the company or organization has to make sure that these people are doing what they need to do. Because you shouldn't be asking yourself, why don't they just take initiative? Because most people don't. Because some people have that personality and some don't. Okay. So you have to realize that it's not Everybody is not like that. So you need to set up your organization or company in a way that caters to these different personalities and also sets you up for success. So we're talking about what a system for ownership actually looks like here. So you need to have a mindset shift as a leader yourself and clear steps to improve the whole ownership and initiative concept within your company or organization. And we need to talk about why this is not a people problem only, okay? So, and that's what we're doing. So, we're going to talk about why it's not only a people problem, and I need you to realize that your systems contribute to the lack of initiative. Okay? Most people, most organizations are going to hire a team and expecting support, expecting the team members to just like show up and show out, right? Because that's what they want. They want somebody to relieve them of the issues that they have. They really want somebody to support them. But what is really needed is alignment, is clarity. Because you reset your team because you're still holding everything together. You're still holding everything in your head. There's no defined workflow, there's no clear roles, and there's no expectations set in writing, which is a big problem. And that oftentimes lead into a leadership issue and infrastructure gap, not a staffing one. Because if all these things are happening and your team members, your staff are still unclear of what they're supposed to be doing and misaligned with what's supposed to be happening with the organization and company, then that's why you need to worry about infrastructure. Okay. I don't know if you've ever used Gallup, right? Like the Gallup assessments and stuff like that, they're great. And they did a research and they showed that only 41% of employees strongly agree that they know what their company stands for and what makes it different from competitors. So imagine that you have people working with you and they don't understand the big picture of what your organization and company stand for. A lot of them don't, because I guarantee you, if you put your staff and team members and board members in a room and ask them what the organization does in their own words, most of them are just going to repeat the mission. They really do not understand the work that you're doing. And also, if you're here, hashtag live and let me know where you're watching from just so I can engage and Facebook can do its thing. But this is what's really important, is that your people need to know what the company stands for. That level of clarity is very much needed in the organization because everybody needs to be on the same page. When they have that level of clarity of what the organization does and why it does what it does, they show up differently. Okay. So, one scenario I'm going to give to you, imagine you're in a meeting, right? You assume your program manager is going to follow up, you assume it, right? And they assume you're handling it. So, everybody is making assumptions at this point. And a month later, nothing's done. It happens a lot. So you're exhausted from chasing everybody down. And that scenario goes to show you when there's like a lack of clarity in who owns what, who's accountable for what, then that level of confusion is happening more than you think. Okay. So if you want your team to start acting like they own things, you need to create conditions for ownership. You need to define their roles. You need to have clear roles documented for them to understand what their role is, right? You need to have documented workflows. Okay. You need to have central task management, a place where the task can be managed, a dashboard. And that's why I have the system setup guide that's available to everyone on my stand store, where with Monday.com, Asana, and Airtable, those are three that are in the system setup guide where you can set up your own system. Hey, honey, I think that's you. I'm not sure who it is, but hashtag live, let me know. So definitely look at the system setup guide and start setting up dashboards so you can have a central task management for your team. And the other thing that you can do to create conditions for ownership in your organization, you need to have explicit project leads. Who is the lead for this project? Who is responsible for leading this project and making sure that this project is a success? Who is owning this project, right? And you need to have regular check-ins with your team members, like especially if your team members are not where they need to be. These need to be happening on a regular basis. Maybe you need to start with having a weekly, monthly meet, like a weekly Monday meeting and shorter Friday meeting to debrief and a check-in on Wednesday, maybe on Slack or something that's scheduled. Hey, how's everybody doing? Can you update the Monday.com dashboard, Airtable dashboard with your tasks, what you were able to complete with some notes or whatever. So the regular check-ins need to be a thing. Okay, so like, and you have to let them know, hey, I want to ensure that everybody is able to do their job effectively. So this is what we're going to do for the next few months. If it continues working or things improve, we may shorten the meetings to bi-weekly or whatever, but get everybody to buy in and understand what's happening because you want to make sure everybody's on the right track. And you can break it down, right? You can define the lanes that they're in clearly, who owns what. When does a task become their responsibility? Because sometimes you need to pass off certain tasks because then one person's responsible for one thing and then they hand it off to someone. So you need to be clear on when does a task become their responsibility. So let's say you have a marketing team, somebody's responsible for designing the graphics, somebody's responsible for the caption. So you need to be clear on who's responsible for what and when does what happen. Does the caption happen first and then person A pushes it to person B who does the graphic, and then the whole thing is diverted to the marketing director or whomever to approve the post. So you have to think about when a task becomes their responsibility, or it's going to be very confusing to them. Okay. And when are they checking progress? Is it every Wednesday that they update what their progress is? Is it every Friday? What is it? When are they checking progress? Okay. So timeline and progress, all of those things are important. And hey, honey, thank you for coming live. And you need to use a central system because in a central system will be very useful for your team and it will take you being very intentional and strategic about it to make sure that your team picks it up. And it has to be something that you train your team on to ensure that they know how to use it. So using a central system like Monday.com or ClickUp, right? No more sticky notes, no more text, because then visibility equals accountability. Because then if it's central and everybody on the team has access to it and can see what's happening, guess what? People are more accountable because they don't want to be the one that's slacking. Okay, your team needs one place to manage projects. If you have certain projects in place, make sure that it is being managed in a very central system that everybody has access to. Okay, and you have to start documenting the repeatable stuff, the stuff that's happening on a regular basis, and it's just a repeating process, like reaching out to donors, reaching out to stakeholders, sending emails, whatever is repeatable, you need to document. If it's an event you put on yearly as the same event, it needs to be documented. What's the process to put this event together? Do you have to reach out to the city? Do you have to reach out to the certain entities to make sure you host this event? These things need to be documented. Who's the point of contact? How does this happen? Because if it's not documented, when you have a change in staff or a lot of turnover, it's going to be very difficult for you to bring in the next person to do this work. So you need to document the repeatable stuff. Start simple, and things you can think about include onboarding, the events like I was talking about, and reporting. So these things are simple enough that you can document it. And remember, it's not about perfection in this case. It's about the level of clarity that you are putting in place for these individuals, for your team, your board members, your paid staff, etc. Okay, because if you don't build structure today, you build it for the team you want to have. Again, you might not have the team that you need, but you want to build structure for the team you want to have. Okay, so you need to have a shift in some beliefs because it's not faster if you do it yourself, right? They should know what to do. No, they should not. Like, you should be clear on what they should be doing and train them appropriately. Your onboarding needs to be on point. Okay. And if you're telling me we don't have to systematize, we don't have time to systematize, what do you have time for? Just being burnt out? There's a reason you're burnt out. Your lack of systems, your gaps in operations are leading you to be burnt out. So you do have the time to systematize. You have to make it. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. Okay. So you can flip these beliefs like it's slower now, but saves you 100 hours later. Because then if you think it's faster to do it yourself, it's slower now, but it saves you 100 hours later. Okay, sometimes you have to like be clear on what you need and let your team do it because it's a learning curve for a lot of people. Okay, and instead of they should know what to do, nobody should have to guess how to win. Flip it that way. Nobody should have to guess how to win. I'm gonna help them win. This is what we do. Like, what do you need help with? Or what is the issue? What issue is coming up for you? You have to figure out how you can help them win. As a leader, that is your job, that is your responsibility. Okay. And we don't have time to systematize. Flip that again. Perspective. You don't have time not to. You need to systematize. So you need to talk about how you're going to systematize. You don't have time not to. Okay. And essentially, you don't need a full strategic plan to start building structure. Okay. Things you can do today. I'm just going to give you a few before, because I think I have time. I have a few more minutes. Okay. So here's a few things that you can do today. You can create a shared task board. Use Monday.com, Airtable, ClickUp, Asana, whatever it is that you have. You need to assign, let me tag one person I know. We'll need this. A nonprofit leader. Okay, so you can create a shared task board. You assign one project lead for each initiative. You block 1 hour a week to document recurring tasks. And you hold a Monday kickoff meeting, even if it's 15 minutes. Like that board needs to be a living board, like a dynamic board where everybody's updating things as they go. Okay. And your Monday kickoff meeting is for everybody to know what's on the agenda, what needs to happen this week, what everybody's focusing on, and everybody gets to rolling. Okay. Because if you don't know where to start with a dashboard and how to set that up, you can check out my $47 setup guide, system setup guide. And that link I'm going to put in the comments on Facebook so you can get yourself a copy of this guide and start setting it up. Because then you do have the option to also reach out or set up a 45-minute, like done with you. I help you set it up. So set up your task board so you can get your team moving because you should not have to tell yourself, hey, I can do it all by myself. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So, yeah, if you know something is not working, but you don't know where to start, definitely check that out. And also, I have different ways that I help my clients. So, you need to make sure that you are not sleeping on what's needed and actually make the time to make it happen. Okay. So, that's it I have for now. And if you did not watch the replay, or if you did not watch the whole thing, you definitely catch the replay because then I did give some essential steps that you can do today to start building structure within your organization because it's not optional. Because then without structure, your team can't take ownership of things, you know, you'll be stuck in the micromanagement phase. You'll be like creating a culture of people not leading themselves, not leading their tasks. And I'm here to help you build it in different ways, either the system setup guide or however you need. So if you want to fix this for good, comment the word systems and then we'll talk about what's needed and different ways to work with me. If you don't want the system setup guide, there are different ways to work with me, like the strategy session. It's a 90-minute session, or the VIP operations intensive where I build out your systems for you and send you a recorded video of how to set them up and to train your team. So comment systems, let me know. which one you're interested in hearing more about. And I'm going to put the link for the system setup guide in the comments before I roll out. And it was a pleasure seeing everybody. And Facebook is funny, so comment hashtag live or hashtag replays so this algorithm can do its thing because I've been realizing that they've been muting my profile. So comment, comment, comment. I am excited about the comments. It does its job because I'm tired of social media, y'all. I'm tired of it, but I'm here and I'm sharing what I need to share. And I reach out to people anyway in the DM. So they want to mute my profile, they can mute it. But I will always, always give you the information you need. And I'm out for the day. Look forward to chatting with all of you. Bye.